Welcome to week 1 of the How to Handle Tantrums Mini Course. Congratulations on taking the first step towards gaining a better understanding of your child's tantrums and building your confidence in responding to your child when they are feeling challenged and overwhelmed, all while helping your child feel heard, validated and supported. I'm Dominique. My background is in psychology and education, and my mission in life is to help parents create a calmer home. And I can't wait to help you too. This first week is all about emotions and how to build your child's emotional literacy. Now, when I use the words emotional literacy, I'm talking about your child's ability to recognize and name emotions. So for example, when your child's toy breaks, for example, they might cry and feel sad. So it's that understanding of my toy broke, I'm crying, I feel sad. So matching the word for the emotion with the actual emotion. This is how I feel when I'm sad. So sad is the word that matches that emotion. So anyway, let's get into it. So whether you have a brand new baby, a toddler, a teenager, or your child is well into their schooling years, it is never too early or too late to focus on emotions. And you might be thinking, well, what's this got to do with tantrums? Well, emotions are at the core of all tantrums. Now, tantrums are not bad or something that should be avoided. They are simply the way that children learn to deal with their emotions. And part of you having the skills and techniques to handle tantrums and emotions when they occur is helping your child understand what emotions are. Learning to deal with emotions is one of the most complex functions that we can learn both as children and as adults. Think about all the learning that is needed to achieve any new skill. So for example, when your child first starts to walk, they don't just get up suddenly and start walking. They crawl for quite a long time usually, and then they cruise around on furniture, and then finally one day they take 1 or 2 steps and everyone claps and cheers, and eventually, maybe later that day, maybe a few days later, they try again. But the point is that they stand up, they fall down, they stand up, they fall down, and they do that over and over and over again until one day they walk on their own. Now, learning to deal with emotions is the same. So kids need to practice over and over and over again. And on the days or in the multiple hours each day when it gets too hard to deal with those emotions, they come out as a tantrum. And look, let's be real here. Adults are much the same. It's just our tantrums, hopefully, look a little bit different to theirs. So the first step to helping you and your child manage tantrums is about helping you understand their emotions. And there are plenty of easy ways that you can do this where you can incorporate it into your everyday schedule. You don't need any special resources or to buy any fancy props. But of course, if you find that they help and that's the way that your child learns best, then I can definitely suggest some free and low-cost ideas for you. But anyway, getting back to the easiest way to help your child understand emotions is to talk about them in your everyday life. That sounds really simple, right? And it might sound simple, but it's actually just a habit that you need to get into. So for example, if you have a newborn baby, you'll probably start to pick up on their cues for crying. So you might say things like, "You're crying. You must feel sad when you have a sore tummy." Or, "You're crying because you're cold and you feel sad when I change your nappy." Or, "You love your scrunchy book. You're so happy when you're playing." Now, if you have a toddler, you're probably going to find that you have a lot of opportunities to talk about emotions. So you might say things like, "Your biscuit broke and you're feeling really sad." Or, "You love playing in water. You're so happy." If you have a 3-year-old, your conversation might sound more like, "You're having so much fun on the swing. You look so happy." Or, "You're feeling sad because I said no to wearing your fairy costume to school." Now, if you have an older child, and depending on the verbal skills of your younger children even, your conversation may even sound like, "You're crying. It looks like you're feeling really sad. Can you tell me what happened?" Now, another important way to further develop your children's understanding of emotions is for you to share your own emotions with them. So talk about when you're feeling happy, when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling frustrated, angry, excited, surprised, proud, all of the feelings. Look for as many opportunities as possible to help your children observe the emotions of others. So you can do this at the park, when you're reading books, during pretend play. Talk about how other kids and characters in stories or in books or in their favourite shows are feeling and why. The more that you talk about emotions, the greater the understanding your child will develop about their own emotions, and the greater understanding you will have about your child and how they are feeling, which will pave the way for the technique that I'll talk about next week, which is all about how to validate emotions and diffuse tantrums when they occur. But remember, the better your child is able to understand their emotions, the easier it becomes for them to identify their own emotions, which then makes it easier for them to find ways to recover from their most challenging emotions. And as I mentioned again, I will talk about that in the coming weeks. Now, just before I go, I mentioned that you can use resources if you want to help teach your children about emotions. You don't have to, because discussing them as part of your everyday life is the easiest and most effective way to teach emotions. If you want to though, jump online and type in the search words free emotions resources into Pinterest or into Teachers Pay Teachers, and there's two really good places to find free resources. The other thing you can do is pop over to your local bookstore or even your library and just look for some books about emotions. I'll show you one that I've got here. And sorry, this is inverted on the camera, but this is just one that I picked up from Kmart. It's just called Feelings. I think it's about $2 or something, and it just has the actual picture of the emotion and then the word that describes that emotion. Now, when my son was about 1.5, 2, I used to find him every day flipping through this. He was really quite taken by it, and I think that did help him in developing his understanding of emotions as well. Now, during the week, I'd really love to hear how you're getting on with integrating talk about emotions into your everyday lives. So if you could pop me through an email to info@obehave, that's OHBEEHAVE.com.au, and let me know how you're going. I would really like to hear from you. And lastly, if you would like some one-on-one support to help you with your child's tantrums or any other behaviour that you're currently finding challenging, head over to www.parentingtherapy.com. You can upgrade this course to get one-on-one support and resources to help you introduce calming techniques to your child. Or you can take a look at my parent support services, where I can help support you with any behaviour you're currently finding challenging. And before you go, if you have found this first week of the Tantrums course helpful, I would really love it if you could leave a comment or a review or share this with a parent who would find it helpful. Your comments and reviews make it easier for other parents to find the support they're looking for when it comes to tantrums and challenging behaviours. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to hear from you.